Good morning. Good morning. My good friend Gio loves to say that it's a great morning anytime you're up and 6 feet above the ground. Well, I'm 5'5" above the ground. Today's the day. This is the Daily Huddle. It's Friday the 13th. And we've always, since March 2020, been starting your day because we say the way you start your day gives you the rest of your day. And the way you live your day gives you the rest of your life. And pretty soon it's going to be something like this. The way you start your week is the way you live your week. And the way you live your week is the way you live your life. Today on the Daily Huddle, we are honored to have with us Elisheva Ray. Today's question is this. Wait for it. What part of you are you still hiding that might hold the key to your deepest power? Elisheva is a magnetic presence, feminine awakening coach, and spiritual catalyst who helps soulful, spiritually aware women feel safe, seen, confident, and fully expressed in their bodies, their work, and their lives, just like her. Shiva, it's great to have you here this morning. I want to say just a couple more things about you, and then we'll dig into this, right? Shiva believes in tantric soulful healing as a way of life, in the integration of both softness and strength, and in supporting women to return home to themselves, centrally, emotionally, and spiritually. To be whole and complete is to be someone who's interacted with Shiva Ray. Shiva Ray holds herself as someone who is whole and complete. And today she's going to express herself by sharing with us a piece of her work and then interact with us inside of the fulfillment of what she lives for. Empowering women, but her work is not for women only. If you're Bill, if you're Gio, if you're Sorrel, you're going to be empowered too. Shiva, it's so great to have you. Welcome to the Daily Huddle.
Thank you so much for the introduction, Sorrel and Gio, and thank you for having me. The Daily Huddle is one of my absolute favorite podcasts, so to be able to be a guest is such an honor. And so I will just jump right in. So, um,
Shiva,
this,
before you jump right in, excuse me for
yes,
interrupting you, but Gio's
it's
been
okay.
so good at pinning people today and saying, you look like so-and-so, you look like so-and-so. Gio, I wonder who Shiva reminds you of.
It's so rarely so good at putting people on the spot. Why do you do that? But I was thinking about Holly Ferry. What is her name?
There you
Uh,
go. See, we think alike.
how do you pronounce her name?
Halle Berry.
Halle Berry. Halle Berry. Halle
Yeah.
Berry.
So that's
So rare.
and by the way, it's not a comparison. It's really an honor to actually see all other women who are powerful in you.
Mm.
And so thank you for being here. So you brought something to share with us.
I did. I brought something to share with you all. I'm gonna pull it up. It's a cross between a monologue and a channeled writing, and it's going to be, I think, a great introduction for our question. You all ready?
We're all set.
Okay. So, have you ever stopped to marvel at the masterpiece that is your life? This year, I did just that. Every day, I am in awe of the brilliant and uniquely crafted woman I've become. I am the sacred creation born from the union of divine order and perfectly orchestrated chaos. I am dripping in darling sweetness, and I am the possibility of divine order, light, and truth. I am the feminine awakening. As I entered into this new decade, I set these intentions for my journey. Number one, to get still, to get real, and to know that I am. Number two, to die to the madness and the nonsense of expectations and social conditioning that no longer serve me. Number three, to rise and awaken. And finally, to rise in devotion and indulge in the sacred rendezvous of my own becoming. Tending to the shadows of my being, I've confronted the lies I tell myself. Lies like, I'm good, I'm fine, I'm grateful. When the truth is, I feel sad. I'm not okay. In fact, I am fed the freak up. Lies like I'm small, I'm shy, I'm weak, but actually, I am expansive. I am bold, and I am remarkably resilient. Okay, so I know I say a lot that I'm busy, I'm stuck, and well, kind of confused, but really, I'm just afraid. Afraid to be seen, known, and truly felt. Afraid of the very power that I crave. Afraid of what clarity would demand of me, that I rise, that I shine, and that I thrive. Oh, dear Lord, unhinge my consciousness from this trifling fear that enchants me, a fear that has me crave the freedom to cower, to hide, to check out, and avoid the divine source within, even when it cost me the very life I was born to live. Unhinge my consciousness, dearest Lord, from these ghosts of insecurity and despair, from the shadows of regret that haunt my sluggish and drifting state as I lie awake at night. And the divine declared, enough, let there be light. And like a cannonball of grace, I was catapulted through the darkness, shot from the shadow into divine light, from aching into awakening, from numbness into rich feeling and an even deeper knowing. And even as I lie awake at night, hoping to stumble across my grand purpose, dreaming that a Prince Charming would charge in, cradle me, and save me, and then love me to my destiny. Even as I observe the familiar reflection of my mocha, naked, soft, maturing body, wishing to be more beautiful, more worthy, and more enough, I stand here today and I can tell you I'm not a perfect woman, but I stand before you today as a whole one, a woman who continues to rise, to fall, and to rise again, a woman unapologetically devoted to the dance of her own becoming. And so, as I celebrate this new chapter, I invite you, my beloved community, my fellow travelers on this journey of life, seekers of truth, light, and wholeness, to join me. Let us marvel at the wonder of who we are. Let us face our shadows and stand in the light. And finally, let us awaken, rise, and truly live. Here's to new beginnings. Here's to us. Welcome home, dear one.
Hmm. As a poet, Elisheva, uh, tell me what inspired you to create this? And if you could take us back, was there a point in time where you said to yourself, I am this messenger. I am this messenger for women. I am standing for this. And what was that pivotal moment that actually catapulted you into being the cause, the servant of the cause that you serve now?
Oh, gosh, what a great question. Well, I actually got to say there was a lot of pivotal moments. So each time I stood up for myself, each time I received feedback that was hard to receive, but I just allowed myself to receive it. Anytime I challenged myself, really, whether it be to speak up, to dance, to be bold, to be vulnerable in any way, it's like every single moment was a choice, and every single moment elevated me into the next moment. Now, this particular writing, I developed on my birthday. I turned 40 years old last year, and I was actually grappling at first with, oh, I'm 40, I don't have $50,000 in the bank yet, I'm not married, and so on and so on and so on, all my shoulda, woulda, couldas. And I had this thought as I was sitting there. I was driving to the spa, Jeju Spa here in Atlanta, Georgia. And I took a voice recorder and I just started talking like, no, I am this, I am that, I am this. And then when I got to the spa, I turned off my phone and I just let myself feel into the truth. Like, who am I really? And I took maybe a couple days, actually, what I like to say, birth it. And it was expression, like a gift, really, to myself to step into my own becoming.
Hmm. And you know, I'm fond of saying this: the apple never falls far from the tree. And I heard this morning that your mother's here, and I'd love to hear uh, how did your relationship with your mother impact you now? I mean, what did you take from Mama that impacted
So
you?
many things. It's so funny. One of the things earlier on that I never thought was a big deal as a child, but now I do, just thought my mom was being mom. But my mom is very expressive, very bold, very overtly loving and emotional and powerful. And again, people would always say things to me about my mom. And when you're a kid, it's like that's just mom. As a matter of fact, I heard former First Lady Michelle Obama say how their girls would see their father, the president of the United States. And so much of it has just been seeing my mom like embody like womanhood, love, strength, vulnerability. Um, and like in the last couple years, something that so my mom's a coach too. Hey mom, an executive coach. And I got to be one of her clients. And it was so amazing. I got to really experience my mom, like be like not just the daughter, but like experience her coaching. And she had me do this like values test. I don't know, mommy, if you're here, it's like it helps you identify what your values are. And mine top ones were like beauty, love, relationships, spirituality. And I remember her being very insistent that, like, use your values and your gifts to propel you forward. All your insecurities and all the other stuff you feel like you got going on, let that stuff work itself out. And so that was a few years ago, and that was a pivotal moment because I was like, oh, you mean I get to just be beauty, be love, be connection, like be all those things and a whole bunch of things. I could
Yeah,
write 10
look out,
volumes
you
about
have
my mama.
empty space right now. You have many fans and many friends here. One of your secret admirers is very likely Giovanni Gonzalez. Gio, come on in and talk to Shiva a little bit before we open it up to the gallery.
Yeah, thank you, Sorrel. One of the things that I love your poem, by the way. And one of the things that I wanted to ask you in the context of how did it all get started for you, right? There is, for me, right? For me, I kind of have a lens of looking at life this way, which is, man, I gotta make it. And I think for most of us, in one way or another, we're trying to make it in life. You know, make it as a mother, make it as a father, make it as a business person, make it as a uh, be a good employee, have some money, go to vacation. I've got to sort of make it and make it and make it, right? I got to have money for vacation or a good movie, trying to make it. And since I've met you, I've always had this sense coming from you that there's making it is not the goal, is the experience in the now, if you will, is the experience that I get to have with you right now. And so your way of being and who you are, and for me, every time I see you, kind of like moment to moment, right? Every time I see you, is it's enhancing the experience of my life. And so I wanted to ask you, how do you balance your femininity, because it's always present and it's always beautiful, it's always attractive, it's always there, right? While at the same time being present, and while at the same time making it in life, going, creating a powerful future, right? Which is what most of us are struggling with. How do you balance it all?
Thank you, Gio, for that. And thank you so much. That means so much to me. So, interestingly enough, I don't balance it. That is one of the things that has been in my own shadow. Like, I'm actually not very good at anchoring it, grounding it, right? But going back to talking about those strengths and my values, I am a stellar connector. Um, I have a support system, a team, starting with my mama. My bestie, LaShonda, is on here. Maria Sangri. I can't see everyone here, but yeah, so that is, and I'm glad that you brought that up because that's one of the things that, like, I have it like the well-supported woman is like the new sexy black dress, right? Because I don't think, I certainly can't, but like we can't do this by ourselves. Like, as a matter of fact, daily, I have somebody, multiple people checking me in. As a matter of fact, Maria, my magical and miracles friend, she's like, hey, look, don't be rambling. Don't do this, So I don't balance it. I have a
Community.
seriously an entourage of
Uh-huh.
people who are like pillars who support me to reel it in. Because otherwise I'll be in the sky twirling and loving it.
Yeah. I have a follow-up question, Sora. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course. But all of the fans and friends over there are going to kill you if you take too much time.
Yes, the last one. Yes, yes. I love to hear also everybody else's. One of the things that, so what I'm hearing you're saying is, well, I don't balance it. I thought that was so profoundly authentic and real. So thank you for that being so real. Well, I don't balance it. I do have a community that supports when I am unbalanced, when things are not necessarily grounded. And you named your mom and Maria and your best friend, right? Um, how do you, given that you're a space for women to be self-expressed and femininity to be, and the feminine energy to be self-expressed, how do you balance allowing community to be with you, because they're all coming from different energies. They're all, how do you balance allowing people to, or maybe, I don't know, balance, but where do you anchor yourself to allowing people to contribute to you without having that be overwhelming?
Well, I will tell you from experience. So there was a time when it was overwhelming because I would have a lot of different voices coming and I also listen to podcasts all the time. So it has been overwhelming in the past, particularly because I find myself losing touch with my own voice. So
Mhm.
part of how I balance it is just because I've experienced, like, I've not had it balanced before. And I think the biggest thing is anything, seriously, and I'm very proud of this, anything that you could imagine that is in my past, drama, trauma, anything that I can remember, I have faced it all. I have faced the ugliest parts of me. I have faced the most beautiful parts of me. So, because of that, my capacity to be with another shadow or ego or discomfort, it is grand because I face my own stuff. So when women come on board, I'm like, oh, I got you. I love you. Boom, we about to do this work. Like the women who know who I've worked with or talked to as friends, they know like I'm juicy and I'm sweet, but I'm also like, listen here. But that's because I have and continue day in to day out. I face my shadow, I face my stuff. And I'll say this too. I can't see my son, and I don't know if he's still here, but having a son, my son is 17, he just graduated, y'all. Yay. And when he was 4 years old, I had a lot of man issues. Like I knew I was like, oh my God. And I made a commitment early on that I'm going to commit to this healing journey because I knew if I didn't, I was going to like take out all of my unresolved stuff on my son. And so having my son in the background, always, it has been a driving force for me to constantly face my shadows and dig up the stuff. And so now I have a freedom because I'm like, I faced all my stuff. There ain't too much I'm ashamed about. I tell stuff my son, he feel like TMI mommy. So that is I'm grounded in who I am, both the power and love and sweetness, but I'm also grounded even in my own shadow. And so, I don't see it as anything to balance anymore. I'm always happy to receive feedback. And lastly, I'll say is I take feedback and I trust my own heart and intuition. So I take it graciously and then I match it up with what my spirit is telling me. And so that's how. And that's a great question, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, I want to continue, but Maria Sangria has her hand up, so I want to hear
Yeah,
what her
and
world has to say.
Maria,
Okay,
right,
good
Maria, come
evening.
on in.
Thank you, thank you. So recently I anointed and appointed Elisheva as Divine Light in Action. So thank you so much for everything you've said, Divine Light in Action. And I know that you believe in tantric soulful healing, tantric soulful healing as a way of life. So with Tantra being the integration of sexuality and spirituality as one, can you say a little bit more about that as Tantra as a way of life?
Ooh, I love it. So to me, I see life as sexy. Like, and I'm getting a little bit raunchy here, right? So when I
Okay.
think about spirituality and sexuality, I see it as all connected. And so when I think of Tantra as a way of life, like if I'm feeling good, I'm feeling good. I'm like, ooh, wee. If I'm feeling bad, like one of the things that allows me to allow myself to go into deep, rich, heavy, ugly, big emotions is because I've surrendered to the fact that I used to say I'm overwhelmed, I'm that, I'm this, but newly I've been saying I'm alive. And so that is what gives me that access to it. So even when I'm feeling like life is getting, I was like, oh God, let's kind of spanking me life. Okay, I get it, you know. And so just being able to kind of be inside of that sexy rendezvous with life, it 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 helps me to just go, oh, all right, oh, we're doing this. All right, I surrender or I don't. And so, yeah, I love that question. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So what I'm hearing in that divine light in action is really the essence of you being a romantic optimist. To me, that is so
Yes.
important. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you for that. Thank you. This is my magical miracle friend, y'all. Thank you.
Miss Galaxy 24 had a question.
Grand Rising, everyone. Grand Rising. This is Rashida. Hi, Elisheva. I am so speechless. But the only thing I can say is about your poem is that it's got to my core, but it's also opening my horizon that if you keep having people hearing this, it's like you are making them know that there's a place in heaven with the words and the message that come with that poem. How grateful I am that you share with us this morning, and I know that we have a place, and you are letting us know that there's a place anywhere we are is heaven. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate your poem, and it's leave me with a sweet, honest taste in my mouth and in my life. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
Rashida.
received that. Thank you for
Thank
that.
you for creating.
That means a lot.
Laura. Go ahead, Laura.
Grand Rising. No, no,
Yeah.
not me. There's another Laura. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another Laura.
Yes. Yes. So,
Laura
Shiva, I wanted to say that one, your poem was absolutely beautiful. You've always been such a warm light for me, someone who always helps me remember that it is okay to be vulnerable. And just from what you said, like the part about how you don't have everything balanced. It's about the people that you have in your life that is important to you. And so that was really huge and like an aha moment because our surroundings are so pivotal. And as women, sometimes we can tend to be catty or, like how did you develop such a wonderful tribe of women? How did you attract that into your life? And how do you know, okay, this is something that I can share, and this is what I can hold back, because I almost feel like you share everything, which makes me feel like I definitely need to share some more because I always see such beauty happy from it. But like, what is your thought process? Were you always this open and transparent?
Yes and no. So first off, I was actually born into a community. Like my mom always had women around. So I already have that wiring. Um, and so when growing up inside a community like that, like I've experienced so much love and support, excuse me, I've experienced so much love and support. Like I grew up in community. Again, one of those things that I never thought was a big deal. It's just how it was, right? Something my mother um and her friend, my auntie Kim, would always say is, that whole saying, like, I am my sister's keeper. And in order to get a friend or have a friend, you must first be a friend. So that was instilled in me over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, right? Another thing, and thank you so much for this question. A lot of times women, when we go through hurts and pains and, like we have the sister womb and the mama womb and the friend womb and all these things. We become closed and shut off. A lot of women, and I've had my version of this, we have, I think, unrealistic expectations of ourselves and one another. So one of my gifts and what I'm very proud of is I believe in allowing people to give to me and be of service to me where they are comfortable. And I'm also very comfortable with saying, friend, I know you this kind of friend to me, but I can't do that. I can't do that. I ain't that cool. Right. And lastly, that also came because of being in community. My mom's friend, my auntie Kim, you know, um, she has, and she's okay with me sharing this because she shared it publicly. She, she has a daughter and she's in her 20s now, and she would watch, my mother would watch her. And Miss Kim would say, I am not the person where I'm going to be like babysitting your kids, right? Now she is. Ironically, she works with children now. And I remember hearing that, and I was like, it shifted for me, like, if we could just be honest with ourselves about who we are, what we're willing to give and not give, but also allow one another grace. And so that is actually how, is because I don't expect anyone to give to me what they don't have the capacity. And I don't expect myself. I learn. I'm like, I can't do that. I can't. I'm sorry. So yeah. Thank you for that question.
Thank you for that beautiful answer.
You're welcome.
Oh, Eva, all this conversation takes me back to thoughts of Dr. King. And I'll tell you why. Like in every story, like your story, there's the protagonist, women, and there's the antagonist, perhaps men or other misogynic forces that could crush, quote unquote, the dream, right? And Martin Luther King, as a protagonist for the people, had the antagonists, Jim Crow, the system, you name it. And yet he found a way to not only transform his people, but also to transform the antagonists. He indeed transformed the world. And I imagine you're up to the same thing.
Yes.
Right? So tell me, how is your work transforming men? And what do you want to say to men now?
You know what? So what I'm going to share, and I love this question, I'm going to share it, and I'm going to start with women, and then and very intentionally. So I see that women are the heartbeat of humanity, of the world, right? And when women heal, when we allow ourselves to be self-expressed and connected, everybody gets amplified as a result, right? When I start really focusing on the work within myself, I start treating my son better. I start seeing his humanity and being more intentional to respect his masculine energy and power and his development and his growth. But it only came through me having to do the work myself, open my heart, deal with my stuff, so now I can be of service to love, not just my son, like, oh, like I love the totality of who he is. So I want to share that. So when I'm working with women, a big piece is supporting women to connect with their bodies, with their hearts, with their pain, with their joy and their bliss, such that now, like when they kind of go out into the world, they have more space to show up for their partners, to show up, well, first off, for themselves, but for their children, for their businesses, for their nonprofits, like literally for whatever they are up to, right? So that is the first piece. But also, going back to how my work impacts men is this space that I'm in. I love men. I love the divine masculine. I love men with my whole heart and my soul. And so one of the things that I've been instrumental, I'm very intentional about cr- creating spaces for men. Right now, it's in my everyday conversations and really having men be really heard, seen, valued as recent as last night, right? I gave some space to a man in my life and really just let him fully express the impact, like honestly, negative stuff, ways in which he seen me and feel like I haven't seen him, or I've been naggy, or if I've been um selfish, right? And so I and after he shared, I said, "How do you feel?" And he said, "I lighter." He said, "A little bit of tension." And so for me, part of the way that I influence and my work impacts men is one, is through my own journey, supporting women to do the healing work so that we're more open and more loving and just natural, that natural essence of who we are, you know, but also I'm very intentional to love men, to respect men, to listen to men. And the biggest thing is going back to our internal is to drop, like I have dropped not just lifetime, but lineage, centuries of stuff from my system. So it allows me to be love and to really honor the divine masculine, not as like this adversary, but as like this necessary. I see men as a necessary part of my evolution. Like they're you can't do this life without men. And so um oh my gosh. And I'm grateful, and I want to just share, you know, like even my son is on here, and me and his father haven't been together, and we've had our challenges. And one of the things when I see my son and how grounded and who he is, and I'm I'm so present to the value that his father being his in his life not only has been to my son, but to me. So I didn't have to take up the fork and be hard, like, and do all the things that a lot of single mothers have to do. And I recognize that is a privilege. So I got to be soft and be the mother, and his father gets to be the bad guy, you know? But I'm it's those things, like realizing it for myself, sharing it. And I recognize again, I see men, the masculine, as like a necessity. And I won't do my life without men in my life, because there's it it's a non-negotiable for me. So um thank you for asking that question.
Thank you for being with that question. And thank you for being alive. You know, I really got what you said when you said, I don't say I'm overwhelmed anymore. I'm just alive. And I want to acknowledge the channel that you give yourself the permission to be. You channel all of life so that men, women, and everything on the planet can be alive. So I acknowledge you as the source of life. Jill. Hey, Jill. Come on in, buddy. So let's end this together, brother. Shiva, this conversation could last 3 hours. And unfortunately, we don't have that kind of time. And I don't want to end this. So I bring my partner in great miracles to do that.
Thank you, Sorel. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you all for being here. What a wonderful community. Thank you for inviting your community. This is so wonderful to see how many people you touched and you made a difference to, and you continue to make a difference, and you will continue to make a difference. It's just so wonderful. And I want to invite all of you to join us next week, Friday, too. We're going to have the Daily Huddle is evolving. So we're no longer going to have a daily huddle. And so we want to really connect with all of you who have connected with the Daily Huddle one way or another next week, Friday, to have our last episode. So Shiva can be here, and her community can be here, and all different communities can be here that we have touched already over the years. We have had a little bit over 1,300 episodes at this point, and thousands of people who have had a way of looking at life in the morning. And then after the Daily Huddle, they had a different way of looking at life. And so we're proud of that. We're part of that, and we will evolve. And the Daily Huddle will not disappear necessarily. We're going to have a weekly huddle, not a daily huddle, a once a week huddle. However, in the meantime, we do want to complete the Daily Huddle with all of you. We do want to say something about it, right, together, because it has been a wonderful and incredible journey, and we've had a chance to meet Shiva. And Shiva, I hope I get to meet you in person as well. What a beautiful energy you are. So thank you all for being here. And remember to live life like a renegade, right? Not necessarily a good renegade or bad renegade, just a renegade. Be a renegade of life. And there are 8 times to live like a renegade. And the first one is love. Love those you have an opinion about. Love those that think differently. Love those that move differently. Love those that voted differently. Just love. The second one is smile. Stretch your cheeks. They're really good for wrinkles. They make you sexy. They just completely change your biology. Just smile. Laugh out loud, right? Eat more plant-based. Get closer to the trees. Hug the trees. Eat the trees. Avoid at all costs processed food. At all costs, avoid processed food. Eat a lot, but no processed food. Hang out with Maria Sangria and move every single day. In the mornings, put on your shoes, 10-minute walk. Right after lunch, another 10-minute walk. Every single day, move. Make sure you give. Give your jealousy away. Give your resentment away. Give your love away. Give everything you got. Give it all away. Sleep every day, at least 7 hours. Make sure you sleep. It restores your vitality. It aligns your chemicals. Sleeping is critical to live a longer life. Those of you who say, I don't want to sleep because I want to give it all, make sure you sleep so you can give more. Sleep. And that, last but not least, make sure you check your assumptions. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. I love you. Sorel loves you more. Shiva definitely loves you more. And we'll see you Monday. Bye-bye.
Until then.